session is entitled Tech-Driven Finance Leadership, Unlocking the Future. Ready to elevate your business, starting with the finance department. Join us for a transformative session where we unveil practical strategies for leveraging technology to supercharge finance leadership. Discover how to embrace cloud-native technology, revolutionize payroll and HR processes, and harness data for informed decisions. We'll explore how tech can promote diversity and ensure agility in a rapidly changing landscape. Equip yourself with the tools and insights needed to be at the forefront of finance and innovation. And for this session, we'll be led by Heinrich Swanepoel, the head of sales at PSpice. To give you a brief about Heinrich, he has over 17 years of business development and marketing experience from his work with JSE and FTSE 100 corporate businesses and building startups from scratch. His enthusiasm for life is one of his main attributes, and it infuses everything he does. He keeps on top of new technology to combine it with interest in business development, marketing, and network. Heinrich enjoys MotoGP, UFC, rugby, we can tell, and reading books in his free time. So without further ado, over to you, Heinrich.
Thank you. Guys, I wish I could actually stand for this session. As you mentioned, the Springbok final got the better of me. It was after the game, and I broke my foot like 3 weeks ago, so I'm going to be sitting for this session. But nevertheless, I want to say I'll delve a little bit deeper and we'll go into questions, etc. So I want to start off and just thank you for the introduction. I'm head of growth. So in essence, I look after the sales and the marketing teams at PSpice. So those that don't know PSpice, we've geared up about 13,000 customers in about 40 countries. And within a year, we'll be on 4 different continents. I think that's pretty impressive. So this afternoon, we're going to dive in a little bit about PSpice and what we are doing in the market. And I think before we get into the nitty-gritties of the capability, I want to set the backdrop of what we'll be talking about. So the importance of tech in finance. Picture this. Finance is not just about counting money. It's the engine of your business here in South Africa and in Africa. And now technology is giving us the engine more power, more connectivity, and making it smarter, better, and faster. In our corner of the world, embracing tech in finance means we can make quick, sharp decisions that help your business grow strong and stay strong. I think it is essential to keep up with the tech changes. It's like catching up after you've stumbled. And I'm a good example of that. So here in South Africa, our finance pros need to be ready for anything. And I think they're the leaders who plot the course through rough waters. And to do that well, they need tech that is up to the task, tech that is solid, and tech that is smart. So let's shift gears and look at the actual challenges that our finance teams face today. So the payroll landscape today, we've seen a lot of outdated payroll systems. And this typically means a mix of paper, I want to say Excel spreadsheets, fragmented, error-prone processes, and it's normally small businesses and enterprises that's got this disjointed approach across all landscapes. Data vulnerability and access issues. I see the conventional methods leaves businesses exposed. And I think we've seen it a lot. Sharing information securely across different departments is cumbersome and it's extremely slow. And it slows down decision making and giving you the right access to that tools. Real-time data and real-time decisions. So we do it quite often, and we'll typically sit with HR in a different event, and then we've got our finance people. But typically, 50% of organizations normally report into finance and 50% reports into HR. And we typically will ask finance, how many employees are you paying? And HR, that same question. And sometimes we get 2 different answers. It's just because they don't have access to that data. But in saying that, I think sort of without instant access to data, decision makers are several steps behind. Then data integrity. Ensuring the safety and the accuracy of payroll data is a constant challenge. I think we've seen that legacy systems doesn't have the robust technology or backup solutions, and keeping up with the regulations is a constant challenge. And then last but not least, I think sort of centralizing records for continuous processing. A unified center of record allows for continuous processing. It is essential for efficiency and accuracy. So it reduces the likelihood of errors and ensures that payroll operations are a smooth continuum and not a monthly hurdle. It in essence means there's a single employee for life. If somebody leaves your organization and they come back, you can actually reinstate them and not need to re-employ them, as well as from a time and attendance into the system and vice versa. So sometimes we get it, and I think sort of these are the first three things that we do. We automate, we simplify, and we give you access. By automation, I think we want to say goodbye to a lot of the old-fashioned ways that companies are still doing payroll. With PSpice, you get smart, automated system that combines your payroll and HR task into one smooth process. It's all about making things more connected, so you spend less time fixing errors and actually having access to that data. Simplified. Moving to PSpice is literally a breeze. We make sure that your data is safe and all your important data is actually swift when you need it to be swifted. And then access. We're seeing it more and more, people sort of moving around, working remotely, etc. We at PSpice are a full remote organization, but you need to have access to that data. So you can access it from any device, wherever you are. So the second question we normally get is, but Heinrich, we're already on the cloud. And I want to talk about sort of community-driven approach. A lot of you are still, I want to say, on legacy software. We've got 4 user groups a year. We will literally sit down with our customers and we tell them about our roadmap. We look at what they need inside the system, and we actually have a community-driven approach where they can vote for new ideas inside the product. And it's a game changer. Second to that, expansive reporting. Not only do we offer the standard legislative reports like your UIF declaration, your EMP, your UI 19, etc. All your reports, we've got things like a Power BI connector, DevExpress, I want to say all customization, ClickView, etc. So there's a range of different reports that you can actually access inside the thing. And then user interface. For us at PSpice, our philosophy has always been simplicity. Fewer clicks to give greater productivity. Now, in saying that, I think sort of PSpice is designed with this in mind, ensuring that navigating in our platform is efficient and satisfying, and all users, regardless of their age or tech savviness, has actually got the right access to their data. So, with a platform that responds to the community's needs, and shaped by the evolution, PSpice sets itself apart from what our competitors is doing. So, from a compliance thing, and I think compliance is such a big factor. There's a lot of you that's sitting here that's only got South African compliance, but we also cater for 40 countries in African compliance, and it's such a backbone of our system. I think looking at responsive legislative updates, this funny holiday that we've got on the 15th is another example. If you're still running a legacy system, it would have meant that you needed to go and get an update, restore that update, do a backup. It's quite a lengthy process, and it's cumbersome. With PSpice, all the updates, all the backups, all the changes are managed by us. We communicate that back to the users saying these are the changes and what they need to rectify inside the system if there's changes that they need to do. Proactive compliance measures. If there's things happening in legislation, we've got 2 tabs inside the system that actually showcases what is to be released and what is going to be released. And it actually shows a little date there, so you can see what impact it's going to have when it's released. So it's actively sort of communicating that to our community and to our users. Our platform is built with a global legal framework in mind that gives you that detailed legislative reporting. So it means no matter where you operate, compliance is seamless. And then Transparency and change management. As you can see, I'm quite fast. I want to stand, but and I think sort of I want to quote my wife on this, but typically she always says, it sounds better in Afrikaans, so I'm going to say it in Afrikaans, but communicate of communicate. It is actually just like communicate or get into trouble. And it's because compliance is such a big factor for us. So communication is key, and that change management that needs to happen if communication happens. So moving on, and I think sort of we've gotten it a lot at our stand today, and customers and sort of colleagues and people coming and asking us, but what makes you actually different to the competitors that's here? And I think sort of from a custom fit solution perspective, if you're looking for one solution to fit your business and grow with you, if it's either in-house outsourcing or through our partner network, we can offer and maintain that service. PSpice offers what we call a single instance multi-tenanted product. And in essence, it's one version of the truth that's got 3 different versions in it. Now, those versions, we serve customers with 1 employee on, 5 employees, 10 employees, and we've recently taken on or taken live the 2nd biggest bank in South Africa. They're paying over 60,000 employees in 18 different countries. So we cater on that single solution from startup to enterprises. Easy version migration, the next point. If your business scales and you need additional functionality, or your clients, they need additional HR functionality, you can switch between versions literally by a click of a button. There's no consultant that needs to come out, upgrade you, put you on new software, lift and shift, all that jazz. It's literally a migration between softwares. Software as a service. Now, I used to work for a big other green company. I'm just going to refer to as the herb company today, but one of their things was, and we got often asked that, what is the cost? Now, PSpice is a cost per payslip. So you literally pay for what you use inside the software. If you're only paying for 30 employees, you pay that. If you're paying 1,000 employees, you're paying for that. And there's no contract. There's no annual license fees. There's no sort of invoices going on. It's literally a pay-as-you-go model. Commitment to innovation. I think I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into the innovation section of it, but innovation is not just what we do, it's who we are. So PSpice is continuously seeking new ways to serve an increasing mobile workforce and their employers with a strong focus on API centricity. And I'll go through that in a second. And then in today's world, work happens anywhere from everywhere. And I think sort of empowering your mobile workforce is essential. We still get it, and I'm not going to ask that there's still leave records being shared between departments. There's still sort of payslips being printed. It is archaic, and it actually costs more than what you can have. So innovation at PSpice. There's a company called the Global Payroll Association, and they recognize global players in the market. And they've recently recognized PSpice for 2 accolades. The first being Pacey. It's our bot's name. And what it in essence is those that's maybe attended our stand, it's a communication tool. We found that printing payslips was average cost of about R4 to print a payslip, and it's a once-off. We've brought out a WhatsApp tool. For South Africa, the pricing is R2.50 per employee per month. And again, it's software as a service, so you only use for, or you pay for what you use. And it's a communication tool to apply for leave, view your payslip, interact, happy birthdays, as well as send communication back to the employees. And then second to that, we also want Consultant of the Year. And I think it speaks to the dedication, not only from a product perspective, but as well as from a services perspective of the implementations and the service we're offering to our customers. So I'm going to try and interact with everybody today. So I've put on the QR code here at the top. Now, the easiest way is take out your phones, please, everybody. I'm not going to spam you. Don't take a picture. Just hover it, zoom a little bit in. I'm not sure. Normally when you watch a movie on DSTV, you zoom in. But if you can scan it, it's going to, before you take a picture, it's going to say little WhatsApp QR at the bottom. Click on the little WhatsApp. It will take you into WhatsApp. There's a prize for this. So now, as soon as you go into WhatsApp, it's going to at the bottom say Spicy-Demo. Enter. And as soon as you enter, it's going to ask your name because it needs to communicate back to you. Then as soon as you've logged in, it's going to give you three options. The first being sort of to view a dummy payslip. The second being to apply for leave, and I think it will show you your leave balance. And the third is to do a tax calculator. So that's in essence just playing a little bit around on our tax calculator, adding different things to see what your net balance is going to be. So this is a phenomenal tool. We actually brought it out for the lower LSM for guys that doesn't have access to an email, a laptop, a desktop. But we found that the take on across organizations was all the way to the top. CEOs, etc., wanted to use it because it's easy, it's convenient, and there's a range of functionality. I think in the demonstration there's only 3. But you can go and do things like I've mentioned, the happy birthday claims even. So there's a lot of functionality being developed. And this is one of the, the ways that we actually just empowering the mobile workforce in using things like this. Then I want to go into integration. And I think sort of integration is imperative in the world we're living in today, because I don't want to say this actually, but payroll is just payroll. There's certain laws and there's certain functionality. And I think sort of when you start thinking what can actually give us more productivity, what can make us more connected, what can we actually offer either our customers that we are servicing or what you are maybe servicing. And there's 4 points here, and I think sort of integration is imperative to these days. We're also constantly looking ways to integrate. So if you're either using a time and attendance software, a learning management software, a finance system like the likes of Xero, QuickBooks, Acumatica, Sage, regardless, we can do that integration quite seamlessly. But we've also expanded our horizons about 2 years ago with the likes of a Workday. We are the preferred Workday partner. I don't know if I've got Workday people in here, but Workday partner in Africa as well. What does it mean? If your company is using Workday, we've already written the integration as a standard. So we are what they call a global payroll cloud certified provider. In essence, you can make any changes inside Workday, onboarding, changes in finances, changes, etc., and it speaks directly to PSpice. We then send that pay slips and that tax certificates back to Workday. So there's no interface for the employees into PSpice. It's purely seen as a tax calculator. And then API-centric architecture. I think at the core of our business, we constantly see how we can be more flexible and interact. Now, I don't have a view of it. At our stand, we actually show the different countries that we are in. But something we came across in Brazil was submissions. Now, in South Africa, we've got biannual submissions. And I believe, and probably in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll start having monthly submissions in South Africa. And it's becoming more integration-based, meaning you'll need to actually submit quicker and communicate quicker. In Brazil, they've got something that's called e-social, but in essence, you need to communicate if somebody went on leave back to the government. And I think that's how they're going to keep more tabs on us and start sort of getting rid of cash. But in essence, we already catering for functionality like that. So if SARS decides that e-filing should be monthly or submissions need to be monthly, I think PSpice is already geared up for that. And then unlocking sort of the potential, and there's sort of 3 things I want to go on, is innovation beyond boundaries. Our API just doesn't just solve problems. I think sort of we've looked at ways that we can actually take it a step further. And I want to talk about 2 providers. We've probably got a marketplace, and my dream and PSpice's dream is to build a marketplace, I think similar to what Xero has got. And we've looked at strategic partners that we can talk to, but to finance institutions and to banks, etc., to actually share that information with your consent as a user of the software. So we've gone into partnership with a company called Simply. phenomenal company. I think they're doing a great job. And what it in essence is financial, it's your disability fund, it's sort of a death benefit, it's funeral cover. Now, typically, historically, if somebody was onboarded or offboarded within your organization, that was a manual exercise. Payroll or somebody needed to communicate that back to the broker and say, Heinrich has joined the organization or he's left the organization. Through the API, we can actually communicate that seamlessly. So there's, if you're a broker, luckily there's no brokers here, but we're cutting out that broker. So we're communicating directly to the service provider. The same for onboarding. You can actually go and select the companies you want to actually offer this feature to. So if it's for your own organization or you sort of servicing from an accountant and a bookkeeper's perspective for that client, we can also do that. And then the last one that I want to mention is time bank. Early wage is a big thing. It is Black Friday. I was talking about I actually bought perfume and my kids some Lego last night on Black Friday or Blue Dot or whatever they call it these days. But in essence, our payday is only on Friday, and I bank with the old Red Bank. But in any ways, I'll only see my money on Monday. So you can get what they call an early advance. It's in essence already an integration we've written into Time Bank. So it's literally employees sits. He asks for early advance. He can get that money. It's a minimum cost of 30 Rand. You get access to that money, and at the end of the month, depending on your salary, if it's 20,000 a month, and your company allows it, you can get either 5 or 10,000 in advance before a certain time period in the month. So it's a phenomenal tool, and I think it's actually it helps employees in certain needs. So, is PSpice the right solution for you? And I think there's 3 options we offer. We offer PSpice as a solution that you could internally use and sort of pay your employees on, and also service your employees. If you're either using an Oracle, I want to say SuccessFactors, we can integrate with those systems, as well as offer that range of suite to you from a payroll and an HR perspective. From a business partner perspective, we also have business partner programs. So if you want to service your customers in a way that you may be doing payroll already. And then in an outsourcing typically where you want your payroll to be serviced by us, we do all the heavy lifting. And then you as the employer or as the accountant or the bookkeeper can still give access to the customer. So I'm going to take, I see I still have a lot of time, sorry. I thought my notes is going to be here and I didn't want to read everything. So is there anybody that's got some questions? I think I've got one of my colleagues here in front, just regarding PSpice and sort of what we do or functionality. It's a very still crowd. Any question for a prize, maybe? Nothing. Yes. So the question is just if there's, I want to say sort of an incentive or a reward based on maybe a performance incentive or long service or, so we can, so yes, the short answer is yes. To maybe just elaborate a little bit, I think sort of we've got a performance management module. So in PSpice, we ship standard with core HR modules. So we don't have like, I want to say, a different module for leave, a different module for general ledger. Equity skills, personnel management, all that is standard within our product. Performance management is unfortunately a module, but yes, you can go and have certain incentives, and I want to say a 9-box matrix or etc. to measure where employees is. But you can also build in functionality to automatically kick in if there's commission earners, they need to reach a certain target. Have that as an earmark, and it automatically writes to the payslip. We can take it a step further and put like a little note as well on the payslip to say this incentive was for this. And it can be automated or just purely sort of inputted.
Heinrich, can you... Hello. Hi. Can you elaborate a little bit on the performance management module? Can you load KPIs and you can roll out standard KPIs for certain buckets of the business? How does that work?
Super. So, guys, just on performance management, from a basic level, you can have a job, and then say within that job, we've got certain key performance areas. From those areas, we can have indicators. So inside PSpice, we've got, I want to say, sort of a top-down performance review. And that review would typically say we're going to have a financial, a growth, a leadership, and sort of a service objective. And then we'll have certain KPIs in that. Now, we write our own sort of indicators. So me as an employer, I literally go and sit once every 6 months and say, what is my target for the 6 months? And I'll go and write those, send it back electronically. My manager approves it or corrects it and say, you need to be more ambitious. And then we start reviewing. And I think sort of some of the things we've seen from a performance and a workforce planning, we do cater for quite a big I want to say range of companies. But as soon as it becomes a little bit more strategic, we typically get our workday teams involved, or we've got other partners that we can also refer. Any other questions? I'm going to just give these two then a prize. Marcel, please. Is there anything else, guys? Now's your chance. Yes, sir.
Other than financial,
yes,
like financial incentives, so do you track different types of leave and time off and, all these other little things that you want to park and draw down at some later stage?
So it's a very good question. I think sort of history, calculation, standards. Now, payroll for me is payroll. People don't just change payroll. And I think so PSpice was born in 2002, sort of the idea. Our founders were South African. They said, shit, there needs to be a better way of doing payroll. We can't, every time there's a change, run to different customers and sort of go and do the change there. We need architectural technology that we can service. Since 2007, we went commercial. So it's always been a cloud product. It's never been an on-premise product. And what I want to say about that is because we can service a customer with one employee and a service customer like a bank. I'm not allowed yet to say their name, but anyway, the complexities between those two are vast, and the integration is vast. But unlimited history is on both sides. They want to keep that history and that data, etc., and exposed. Things like leave in a country, like we've got BCA. BCA is standard within PSpice, but any additional leave you can go and configure. If there's maybe you still accumulate leave while on maternity leave, or you've been in service for 5 years, you automatically get 3 days. All those automations we can standardly build into PSpice, and it's quite easy. One of the success stories that I didn't show, and I should have actually showed it, AC Kermans or Ackermans. We saved them 1.2 million on the first year since they moved to PSpice, because a lot of the ownership we took and put it back in their hands. And what I mean by that is, from a consulting level, always when there's new changes, maybe there's a new leave line or a new earning or deduction or something that needs to change, you either need to go and input it. We thrive on empowering our users to actually do it on their own, or our partners to do it on their own. I can tell you today, from a HOD perspective, our implementations is 80% new business. We don't spend time with existing customers. And it's phenomenal. It's a good stat. From a service side, sorry, I'm going off rambling now, but from a services perspective, I was sitting, and if you guys come past, I'm not that agile and sort of, but we in our sales team constantly sort of post the service levels. And we had our general meeting this morning, and our average waiting time for somebody to pick up the phone and not to direct it to a different, I want to say, person, was 12 seconds. And that in its own, we've seen a lot of companies move because of tech, because of functionality, etc. But service, on the other hand, is also a big changer. Any other questions? Yes.
So you say it's a pay-as-you-go model. So is it typically it's a per payslip, and how does it work? Are they ballpark figures?
Yes, I can give you a ball.
You see it in demo, and then you say, commercially it's not feasible. If you have, say we have 1,200 people, maybe it's feasible for not for a large company.
Definitely. So guys, the question is it the feasibility of PSpice and sort of the cost of PSpice? Now I've mentioned it's software as a service. Now inside PSpice we've got 3 different versions. It's called the Lite, Premier, we stole that one, Master. And on Lite, typically I would say about 16 Rand a payslip. That includes, I want to say, salaries, leave, wages, equity, skills, GL, and PM, your personnel management. On the Premier version, you're probably looking at about 20 Rand. But that includes employee self-service. And you can have unlimited users. This is per payslip. And then when you move to the Master, it can be anything from 24 Rand. Now, this is just core product. And on our website, PSpice.com, you'll see compare features, and it will literally sort of show the 3 different versions, as well as sort of the functionality within each. Like I said, we only have a handful of modules: performance, workforce, recruitment, org, analytics, and then Workday. But in essence, depending on the version that you select and the functionality, if you want additional modules, there's a small cost to that, like the PSpice, the WhatsApp that I showed you is R2.50. So it will be 20 Rand plus R2.50, and it's monthly. So say you decide, I'm moving, we sort of get a proposal, you sign up December. December is a dead month, but we work because a lot of weekly guys and payroll gets shifted a little bit earlier. But say you go live January. If you start on payslip, you only get your first invoice in February. So it will show, in this company, we've processed 1,000, I think you said 1,050 payslips. You'll see that invoice, it's actual consumption. And then if you decide, this is not for me or it is for me, you can continue using it or go off. Yeah, Marcel is saying the more people, the cheaper per payslip, but it's not costly. I think sort of we've done a lot of exercises on it and seen the cost, but typically we see it constant sort of people's data that's on-premise being held hostage. This is a weekly, monthly thing, and it's happening more and more and more. And I want to say sort of the services that normally goes with it and the changes is chalk and cheese. Any last questions? Yes.
What could you see that you can do more using your WhatsApp channel compared to what it is now? Do you see there's any more to go?
So WhatsApp is owned by Meta. So the question is what do we see going forward with WhatsApp? And I think it's a great question. I think for us, I've probably said it now for the 3rd time, but payroll is payroll. So we're trying to automate as much as possible and then bring an element of HR to payroll as well, because nothing against HR, but it's fluffy and it's nice. But I think for us, it's bringing more HR to WhatsApp. Things like, we've already brought in things like happy birthday. So if it's in your month, you get a notification saying happy birthday. We've brought out communications to directly communicate if there's maybe a new leave policy or a shutdown period or a new something that you want to notify the employees of. But we're considering, and this is roadmap, so, and I now am being recorded, but in essence, things like checking in with the employees. Are they sort of feeling okay, not okay today? So a little bit more heart into the communication tool. But yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, but also, linked with what you can do with WhatsApp, so you link HR with payroll. I guess payroll is components of HR, issues around staff policies. And there's a simple case of where you take you WhatsApp and someone say, hey, what's up policy around this? Say about something and we'll tell you what it is as opposed to someone, somewhere, needing to get an email,
Yeah.
respond to something.
No, it's ludicrous. It takes forever.
To the users to make it accessible.
So Documents and policies, we see it constantly. So inside PSpice, as a standard, all our versions, you get attachments. I think so. Maybe might be lying, but I'll just make. But it is these attachments, and it can be up to 26 meg. That's quite a big attachment. So everything is inside there. But we also offer places where you can link your policies and procedures. So if something gets changed, you can communicate that back to the employee. Like, we're quite fortunate. We've got limitless leave at PSpice. It is concerning because we go, sometimes I need to approve it, and sometimes it's difficult, but you also feel a lot more responsible to work. It's a weird setup. I think it's more mind job. But when we released that policy, it was quite a thing because everybody needed to go and read it, and they needed to accept it. So that's communicated. And I think one of the features already in PSpice is documents, where you can go and see your employment contract, you go and see your increase letter, to go and see any documents that you've signed with the organization is stored there. And it's standard. But yeah. Guys, we are in that stand on the corner. It's quite a big hall. Please, if you've got questions, if you've got sort of let's go and scan you. I think pricing, a quote's free. It's good to see what other companies are doing. I want to say sort of there's a lot of companies that's pushing for cloud usage and sort of adopting cloud. And I think the time is right to sort of look at different organizations and the different things they offer. I can assure you you're not making a fault looking at PSpice. Any last questions? Excellent. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Heinrich. You can limp off. But thanks so much. As you said, they're right in the corner. If you've got any questions, you want to sign up, we're a proud partner of PSpice at Outsource Finance. No problems. Very happy with the service. I encourage you guys to join as well. I am not earning a commission for that, by the way. I don't mind to, though.